The
Hello, and welcome to the Tiny Car Guys podcast. Episode 30. Not this again. Unfortunately, I'm your host again today, Sam. No. Just kidding. I'm Sam, and we have Matt and Cheerio. How are you guys?
What's up?
Not much. It's
Matt is
not
currently
much
banned.
at all. Uh, Anything interesting happening with you guys this week?
As you know, my one of my best friends today, we celebrate being best friends for 18 years. So he's in town and then he leaves tomorrow. So we're after this, we're gonna go grab some food and probably stay up all night because why would we ever sleep? And yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you are celebrating your friend anniversary. What about you, Matt? How's life?
uh,
Besides you not wanting to be in it.
well, you got me there, Sam. Um, I, the only update that's not even relevant or interesting is that I have a headache, and that's all I have to offer.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Matt.
That's okay. So I will probably be. I mean, I'm already pretty quiet during these, but I'll probably be a little bit more quiet.
I understand. So, Mike's not here this week because his schedule changed again. Um, so, he'll be back next week, though. It is just a 1 week thing. So
Or
he's.
so we hope.
Right, or so you
Yes, so
hope.
we hope.
God, please. No, I'm just kidding. Um,
There is no God.
right.
Oh God, let's not turn this
Right, let's not
theological.
do that. Let's not do that at all. But yeah. So here we are. You guys want to do some news or something?
What's the
I'm down.
something?
It's just news. I have
Oh.
no better ideas.
Yeah, I'm down with some news.
All right, let's let's do some news then. Um, we have RC news wasn't very interesting this week, but I saw some cool cars. I don't
Hell
know.
yeah.
So, um, Tamiya's came out with. Oh, it's not available for purchase, so it's coming out with an RC Lotus Europa special. It was like a popular car back in like the '60s. This R in the '70s. This RC kit recreates the classic Lotus Europa special. The polycarbonate body is paired with the real rear wheel drive. I hate saying that. M06 chassis. The Lotus Europa debuted in '66. Um, in '72, perhaps the finest model, the Lotus Europa Special. So this was made in '72 originally, and the series was released with a 1.6 liter inline four engine. Okay, it looks pretty cool. It's 10th scale, rear mounted motor. Includes marking stickers and window masking stickers. For 540 type brushed motor, requires radio, steering servo, ESC, 7.27 volt, whatever that is, battery. That's a 7.2 to 7.4. Gosh, talking is hard today. Volt battery with compatible charger. Okay, so
Just talking.
uh,
It's also living.
okay. So it goes for 190. It's not available for purchase yet,
It's
but I think it looks kind of cool.
no, it does. I kind of zoned out, no offense, while you were talking about
I don't blame
what it
you.
came with. But if it's just under 200, there's got to be missing some pretty expensive
Yeah.
components there.
Um.
Oh, is it like just the body and the decal?
I would assume.
Okay,
Nah, maybe the chassis.
gotcha.
Includes requires. So this is what you would have to get: a radio, a steering servo, an ESC, a battery, and you have to buy the paint yourself. So it's I'm pretty sure it's just a clear body with a chassis, and you have to get this all the stuff for it.
Oh, it's a good start for those experienced enough
the
to.
right, the motor's there.
Heck, oh, hey, there you go.
You get a motor, chassis, battery pack.
Oh, you get a battery pack?
No, the mount for the battery pack. It looks like.
Okay, I was gonna say that'd be a little fancy if they gave you a battery too.
No, it says you need a battery.
Of course, those roaches aren't gonna power themselves.
Oh man, another old school truck. I like this little truck though. I think he's cute. It's just the body, the clear body. $47. It's in stock. But look how cute he is.
Yeah, it's definitely an Oldsmobile.
It's an old truck, that's for sure.
Yeah, my grandfather probably like that. He's into old cars.
Yeah, my dad's really into old cars. But I think that's a cute little truck. And that's all that was. Like I said, RC news wasn't too in depth at all this week.
Wait, that one's free.
I know, right? Is it
Sorry,
though?
sorry to bring out my energy. I'm battling through a headache and I'm not paying attention. I see free. I'm just like, oh, that is a deal right there, buddy.
Okay.
Jump on that
What a
shit.
bargain.
It really is. Probably like $200 shipping and handling.
All right. So,
Cheerio, are you turning into a bee?
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying. Okay, this phone thing is like killing me. Why?
oh
Why did my
yeah,
computer have to die?
your laptop's not working, is it?
Yeah, it's not, and I couldn't find a power box to replace my currently dead one. So I have my phone, and it's not going well.
Oh no, wow. Yeah,
It's,
I've had to well I've got on there was I think there was a couple weeks where I couldn't be on from my house or something. Oh no, one of them was my week off and I got on Discord on my phone because I was talking to them in my car. So, but it was
yeah,
horrible. I hated
yeah, it is horrible,
it.
and I can't see anything, which really sucks
Oh no.
because nothing wants to work. So like, I'm just here, dude. I'm trying.
It's
Yeah, we're
okay.
glad to have you.
We are. As unenthusiastic as Matt sounds, we really are glad to have you.
Hey,
It's the
listen
headache
here, bitch.
talking.
I know.
This is
Listen here,
unfortunately kind of
bitch.
my normal speaking voice. Oh, also, I guess I should clarify from last week. When I called and then just left, with the message that I sent about not being sure how to leave, it's not that I didn't know how to like computorally kick myself out the call. It was like I didn't know how to like what to actually say to indicate that I was leaving, so I just called and left, and that was it.
That was great. I loved it.
No, I could tell, but then Mike, I don't think understood what I meant. It was like, oh, he got stuck in the call or whatever. It's like, no, I left on
Oh, right.
purpose. I knew what I was doing. I just didn't know what to say that I was doing.
Exactly.
Oh
So
yeah, that
this,
was the week I got called into work.
yeah, that was the
Yeah.
week you got called into work. That was last week. So we played Uno. It wasn't too bad.
It was bad for
And
you.
It was really bad for me. I mean, it was fun, but it was really bad for me. I ended up with like hella cards. Every round, I ended up with hella cards. I was upset.
Did you win?
Did I win at all?
That time, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, well that's good.
Okay. So this Subaru, they recreated the BRZ body in lightweight polycarbonate material and have matched it up to our easy to assemble TTO2 chassis platform. I think it looks kind of cool. It looks sleek. And I
Yeah.
usually don't like Subarus. Um, let's see. It's 110 scale. Polycarbonate body with front and rear polycarbonate light cases. LED lights are not attachable. Black ABS plastic side mirrors. 10 spoke one piece are paired with racing radial tires. Body requires cutting out, painting, attachment of parts, application of stickers, and other work. Includes 540 type brush motor. Requires a radio, a servo, an ESC, a battery, a charger, and paint for free.
I was gonna say all that for the low price of $0
Zero
sounds pretty
dollars
good.
and 0 cents. But it's a cute little blue car.
Yeah, it is.
It's
Uh,
okay. So
looks better than Mike's.
okay. I mean, I like Mike's little blue car though.
It's nice, but I like the way this one looks better.
Yeah, I do like the way this one looks better. Like I said, it's a little sleeker.
Yeah.
So there's a
Oh,
Subaru.
hey, I know what I can do. I know how I can get around this problem. Hell yes.
You know how to get around the
Ingenuity.
problem?
Yes, I do. I know how to get around this problem.
All right.
Sweet. So look at this little pink and purple bitch. It's
That
ACO
is
TLR tuned type and 4-wheel drive roller buggy. I just thought it was
AKA
cute.
the
It looked
pink purple little bitch.
that pink and purple little bitch. Well, no. But no, so I picked out the whenever I was looking up news, I picked this out just because it looked tough and it was pink and purple at the same time. So I
And
was
a
like,
little bitch.
cute and a little bitch. Look at that little bitch. No, it looks kind of cool though. Key features: TLR tuned parts, race spec finished body, aluminum chassis and shock towers, all metal diff outdrives and gearbox internals, high traction D-boost, exabyte tires. In the box, Arma TLR Tune Typhoon 1/8 racing buggy, 4-wheel drive roller, and one product manual. Needed to complete. ESC, motor, pinion, transmitter, receiver, steering, servo, battery, and charger. That sounds like everything. You need everything for it, and it's $419.
You probably get it as a combo deal with the Subaru.
Ah, financing. Um.
Because let's keep going with the money pit hole.
I mean,
Oh man,
makes sense to me.
I don't get why it's. I guess it's just the shell. You have to get everything inside of it. It both of the wheels and stuff. I guess it's what's pictured. There's just not anything in there.
I mean, sounds about like me. I'm sort of here on the outside and not really here on the inside,
Oh my gosh.
but I'm definitely not worth 420.
Nice. I
Which
think you're
way might
69
worth
that?
420.
420. I think you're worth 420.
Oh, well,
69
I know
420.
you do. You imbibed before the podcast. Let me clarify, not of me.
Right. Oh. So there's that little guy. Why is this on this and not the page that I wanted it to be? Okay, well here it is.
Say, I definitely thought we talked about the Bronco Light kit like a month ago.
Right.
And Mike would be so proud of me actually remembering some of the news that we talked about.
Okay. Like I'll say, like,
So
didn't we
I
do that already? And he'll be like, yeah.
I might be a little delayed because I have you guys on my Xbox to get around the way I can't see things. So just bear with me.
Okay.
I didn't even know you could do that on an Xbox, so it's all good.
All right. So the new Traxxas Fortec 3.0, available now as a Chevrolet Corvette Stingray, is an incredible pro-scale replica of Chevy's all-new mid-engine supercar. All right, we know all this. What is the power-up? Use the exclusive Traxxas Power Up program. When you trade in your XL5 speed control and Titan 550 motor, you can receive a big discount on your new brushless power system. 6 speed engine that can size Corvettes built for brushless. Traxxas Fortec 2.0 and 3.0 ready to race models arrive with Titan 550 brush motors, but they are engineered for much greater power. Every part of the drivetrain has been designed with the brushless power system, extreme torque, and high RPM in mind. There are no extra upgrades required. Okay. I didn't read this all the way, and it's kind of complicated sounding. Sorry, guys.
It's all good.
Sealed differentials. The Fortec features metal ring and pinion gears. Alright. The sealed construction allows the diff to be filled with thick silicone fluid to withstand unloading. Oh wow. Especially with high output brushless power.
By the way, did you know that the motor's brushless? I didn't know that.
Hey, guys, the motor's it's brushless.
Thank you for glossing over my stupid giggling.
The Vortex rugged steel drive shafts. Okay. For power and differentials to the wheels with sealed ball bearings throughout. The center drive shaft also made of steel to handle power upgrades like the brushless system. The Fortec 3.0 models have a longer wheelbase than the 2.0 version and feature an extra support bearing between the front and rear gearboxes for rock solid four-wheel drive power delivery.
God, I'm sorry. I said roaches earlier, and now I just keep going back to that, and
Stop
I'm
it.
disgusted.
I'm disgusted. Oh. And then I guess it's showing you how to upgrade the motor or put the new motor in. Yeah, I think that's what it's doing. Yeah. Okay, so you would remove the wire retainer and unplug the motor wires, open the receiver box, unplug the lead here, remove the speed control, remove the gear cover and lift the motor out, remove the pinion gear and motor plate, install the brushless motor and 26T pinion on the motor plate. Oh, look at that. Guys, it's brushless. Install the motor into the chassis and replace the gear cover. Install the VXL3's speed control. Plug it into the receiver. Close the box. Plug the motor and speed control power wires together. Reinstall. And you're good to go. With more power!
Unlimited power.
Right?
We have the power.
Alright,
No.
so
It's over 9,000.
We're trying, okay? We're trying.
We're trying.
Okay, that's all I got. I'm done.
Right. Every
That's what the what? Oh, that's a is that a flying alligator? What the fuck is that?
I know, right? It looks like a flying alligator. That's what I thought it was. Like an ancient flying alligator because it's got a war. Something from Norse mythology. Um, Revealed some stuff about God of War sequel. I'm excited about it because the newest, I guess it would be called the reboot of God of War. The first one was freaking amazing. I should get my disc out and play it again because it was really awesome. But everything we know about God of War Ragnarok so far.
That the God of War title is amazing. That um,
Okay.
it'll pull at your heartstrings. That it gets more complex as time goes on, and you question everything you've ever done. Sure.
Probably. I'm some fans have been calling the game God of War Ragnarok since last year's PlayStation Showcase, thanks to a cryptic teaser trailer that didn't reveal much aside from Ragnarok is coming, and a game that lets fans play as a god going through the narratives based on Norse mythology. Um, Santa Monica Studio confirmed that it is indeed called God of War Ragnarok. The developers confirmed during the live event that it will be the final chapter in the Norse mythology period, which likely left most fans wondering what the next world would be in future installments. The release window is 2022. Players were hoping for a 2021 release based on the teaser trailer from last year's PS Showcase. The blog post reconfirmed that God of War Ragnarok won't be coming until sometime in 2022.
Well, at least they'll guarantee it's not going to be a shit game
Right.
for releasing it early.
Question.
What's up?
Is this a PlayStation specific game?
Yes, it's a PlayStation exclusive. God of War has always been Sony exclusive.
Yeah,
Damn.
Yeah.
I know.
Surprised an
The one reason
Xbox.
why.
I'll let you play God of War on my PlayStation, Matt.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry again. I'm like less than no emotion than normal because headache, but I do appreciate it.
Right. No, I know. I
Okay,
understand, Matt. It's all good.
good.
We appreciate your efforts.
Shit as they may be.
Right.
Hey, listen here, bitch. Just because
You
I'm
said it. You.
incapacitated with a headache, taking advantage of not a cripple. I'm not a cripple. An incapacitated little person.
I am not. You, you will be all right. It is playable on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5. Um, so that's cool. So I won't have to buy a PS5 yet.
Well, I need a
Nice.
PS4.
He says that while it's important to have showpieces for PS5, like Returnal, where it makes sense to develop a title for both PS4 and PS5, for Horizon Forbidden West, the next God of War, we'll continue looking at that. This was reconfirmed in a newer post from the blog about Ragnarok, where the team shared how excited they are for the release of the game for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. There's a more intimate story between Kratos and Atreus. Both the trailer and the blog post revealed a ton about what players can expect from the story of Ragnarok, aside from taking place towards the end of the Fimbulwinter and at the start of the events of Ragnarok. The important character Tyr was revealed in the trailer. It's not clear what the son of Odin's role is, but he's been teased in murals from the previous game. Um, Talented voice cast. Familiar names coming back to play the roles of some of the most tragic characters in God of War. These include Daniel Basutti as Freya and Christopher Judge as Kratos. New members of the cast include Ben Prendergast as Tyr, Leia Hayes as Angrboda, and Ryan Hurst as Thor. Ooh. These characters' roles in the game have not been fully explained, and fans will likely have to wait until they can play to find out. I'm excited. Freya is the main antagonist of the game. Yes! That's pretty awesome. One of the biggest unanswered questions about God of War Ragnarok was whether Freya would become a villain after the events of the last game. Both the trailer and the blog post confirmed that the Queen of the Valkyries would become the main antagonist in the upcoming title, with Thor only serving as a secondary villain in the game. That's awesome. It's not surprising that Freya's
Yay!
anger would lead to her to hunt Kratos and Atreus down. She loved her son Balder despite all his faults. After all, a more interesting question would be how she can become the antagonist, as fans may remember that Freya was cursed by Odin to never be able to leave Midgard.
Well, bitches
I
find their way.
okay. Uniquely expressive combat. So I guess I don't know. The combat before is pretty cool. The blog post detailed about how there will be a healthy serving of visceral and spectacular combat that expected in every God of War game. Well, yeah, it's God of War. Of course, it's gonna be all right. There'll be new attack abilities, runic summons for Atreus, and of course, a heavy use of Kratos' legendary weapons like the Blades of Chaos. Yes. Although the axe was pretty cool in that one too. New creatures inspired by Norse mythology. Flying alligator, Matt.
Yep, the Dreki, apparently.
Yep. Um, been criticized for its lack of variety for lower level creatures like Dragor. It seems like the developers are addressing this issue in the next installment with more interesting creatures to go with the game's improved combat mechanics. A whole host of new creatures from across Norse mythology to test player skills. These include some already shown in the trailer, such as a centaur-like stalker and the Dreki, which looks like a mutated alligator.
A mutilated
Mutilated
alligator.
alligator.
It will be when you're done with it.
All 9 realms will be accessible in the game. The most important
That
in-game
is
teaser to the
awesome.
2018 God of War game can be found in the room with Yggdrasil, the tree of life that allowed players to travel between realms. It showed all 9 realms in the world, but players could only visit 6 of them in that game. The blog post has confirmed that players will be able to access all 9 realms in the upcoming sequel, allowing fans to venture into the previously unreachable Vanaheim, Svartalheim, and Asgard. It'll also include new areas from locations featured in the last game. Players will have to wait and see exactly what they'll discover in these new locations. That it sounds exciting. I'm really excited about it because, like I said, the first game in that series was pretty awesome, and I
Yeah,
want to play through it again now.
it was one that I was kind of looking into getting years ago, back for the PS2. I never got around to it.
Well, see, these are different. I mean, I feel like this God of War is a lot different. This has a little bit more of an RPG feel to it, as the other God of War was like a puzzle slash hack and slash. Like you still do puzzles and there's combat in this one, but you're also like completing missions and stuff.
Okay, so there's a better chance that I will like it and a
Yeah,
better
you would like
unfortunate
this.
likelihood to
You would like
And
play
the
it.
then
God of
Yes.
Wars that came out on the PS4 as opposed to the God of Wars that came out on the PS2 and 3.
Gotcha. I mean,
because I
I'm am
feel
already
Right.
because of mythology.
Exactly. Well, I mean,
I
in
feel like
the God of War games are Greek mythology. Like the original God of War games are Greek mythology because Kratos is the son of Zeus. One of Zeus's sons, because you know Zeus is a whore.
Yeah.
So it's a whole big thing. Which
It's the first.
also
the
feel like
story of God of War is cool, but it is like pretty much puzzles
yeah,
and hack and slash, some
yeah.
platforming.
I feel like it's more the story that you walk through, and it really does a great job with its story.
Right.
Plus combat, always awesome.
Exactly. And you get cool weapons and abilities, which are cool.
Mhm.
They just enhance all of that in the PS4 versions of God of War. Um, and they add a couple extra elements to it, which I like.
Mhm.
So I think you would like them, Matt.
Yeah. I didn't know you were into Norse mythology.
It's well, I'm more into it than what I know about it. It's
Hmm.
also just kind of like a mythological catch-all, to be honest. Like it definitely started with Egyptian, but it's spread out a lot more now. I'm just the issue that I really have with it is that my like I guess my interest levels peak at about like elementary to middle school level. So
Right.
any of the like actual theological, I guess like importances or like reasons why people would create all of these ridiculous stories, I don't give a shit about. Like I just want to know the story.
Right. The stories are
Like
kind of
any of the
cool.
thoughts behind it, I truly don't care.
Right. The stories are
Yeah.
great. So this is just some GameCube games that, people still, I guess, want to play.
Super Smash Bros. Forever.
Okay. Don- Donkey Konga? I don't even remember that game.
I
Is
vaguely remember that game.
It was a sequel, and the bongos were even the default control scheme for Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, but nothing matched the sheer joy of playing that first installment and the palms in the sore palms that ensued. Did it come with bongos? It came with bongos.
I guess.
Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. I watched
So
somebody
like,
play this. It was kind of cool.
yeah,
Puts you in the shoes of Alexandra Rovius, a young woman trying to solve the mystery of her grandfather's horrific death. Uh, all connected to an ancient Lovecraftian god. While there's combat, it was more about physiological trauma and the survival horror of Resident Evil. Most notably, it had a sanity meter that would change the gameplay and environment, and even throw simulated system errors to freak out players. Take that, Metal Gear Solid.
that is terrible.
Yeah. Like many GameCube titles, Eternal Darkness was clearly an attempt to attract an older audience. It was the first M-rated game published by Nintendo, and the company kept the trademark alive for a decade, but it was never released outside of the GameCube, and hope for a direct sequel was squashed when developer Silicon Knights filed for bankruptcy in 2014. So, Fire Emblem, I don't know what this is.
That
Path
looks
of
familiar
Radiance.
too.
It looks familiar, but after they I don't remember. After the runaway success of Awakening and Three Houses, it's hard to see what made Path of Radiance Fire Emblem's only GameCube release so special back in 2005. Nearly 2 decades later, its presentation looks stiff and dated, and the game is missing the relationship mechanics beloved by newcomers. So, okay, that's weird. Then why do you, I don't get it. F Zero. Everybody loves an F Zero game, right? Or is it not the F Zero game? The F Zero. Okay, never mind. Well, the
Never played
futuristic space
them.
racer. Yeah, it's the space racer. I only had 15 courses. They were beautiful and challenging, and even when I did well, I always felt like I could do a little better. I thought the F Zero games were cool on the Nintendo, like on the Super Nintendo and stuff. Anyway, high speed futuristic hovercraft battling it out in the wild. Creative courses where one mistake can lead to disaster. The GameCube's horsepower meant that the courses were longer, more complicated, and visually stunning. The sense of speed was probably the biggest change, though even now 20 years later, this game feels incredibly fast. Mario Kart Double Dash. I liked Double Dash. And I don't think anybody's played Mario Kart Double Dash, but it was one of the best Mario Karts ever invented, in my opinion.
Nope, I never played it.
Never played it.
No.
In the early 2000s, my friends and I had frequent co-op video game nights, and Double Dash was the mainstay of our lineup. Same. Mario Kart games have always been amazing in local multiplayer, and Double Dash was no exception. After Mario Kart 64, it was disappointing that all four players couldn't compete directly against each other, but we quickly got used to the game's unusual mechanic that let one player drive and another one throw weapons. Having two teams of two players was an interesting wrinkle to the gameplay, and it makes Double Dash one of the more unusual games in the series. I liked Double Dash. It was fun. I always played as the babies in Double Dash. That was like the only Mario Kart game where I didn't play as Toad.
But we loved it.
I love Toad. He's the best. Alright, there are more hidden routes and ways to approach each level than ever before, and the scope of boards like Wario Coliseum and the game's take on the Rainbow Road were unmatched at the time. It's no coincidence that almost every course in this game has appeared in subsequent versions of Mario Kart. Well, of course. Because that's all they do is have them from old games and they put like a couple new ones in. Metroid Prime. I never played Metroid Prime. I bet you Mike did.
Probably.
More than likely.
Right. In the 80s and 90s, the Metroid franchise was defined by three classic titles: the original Metroid for the NES, Metroid 2 Return of Samus on the Game Boy, and Super Metroid on the Super NES. They cemented Metroid gameplay as a side scrolling action exploration game with a non linear set of levels. Players would come across areas that you couldn't fully explore before beating bosses and finding items. Metroid Prime, however, completely turned the series around, putting it in 3D for the first time. While the style resembled a first person shooter, the gameplay still put exploration at the forefront rather than fast paced gunfights. Oh, a 3D Metroid? I don't know. I don't know if I like that. Maybe I don't remember it for a reason.
Maybe maybe you don't remember it for the exact reason why the words 3D probably shouldn't be in a Metroid game.
Okay.
But who knows? I never played it.
I mean, I never played it either. The most memorable part of Metroid Prime is the incredible atmosphere of Talon 4 and the wonder of finding new sections of the deserted planet to explore. Did a great job at expanding the story and lore of Metroid series with loads of scannable items to explain what happened in the ruined world. Alright. Pokemon Coliseum.
That was a good game.
Don't remember that.
Pokemon Coliseum was cool. Though the Pokemon series is at its heart a role-playing game series from Japan, it's not very typical for the JRPG genre we've become accustomed to through franchises like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. But way back in 2003, second-party developer Genus Sonority tried its hand at some more traditional story-based RPG, placing the player in the shoes of a reformed criminal trying to rescue Pokemon from his former organization. Pokemon Coliseum took place in the cyberpunk flavored ore region, as opposed to the more pastoral settings of the handheld RPGs. The snagging mechanic for collecting Pokemon was interesting, and the storyline had more of an edge to it. It was followed by a sequel in 2005, Pokemon XD, but I'd love to see the spin off series that continued on the Switch. Resident Evil 4.
You
Resident Evil
know
4 was initially
everyone played this game.
GameCube exclusive. It's been released on practically every platform, including Oculus Quest 2, later this year. But it all started on Nintendo's Purple Box, a platform not known for having any action titles. Resident Evil 4's gameplay would go on to influence not just the entire series, but most action games moving forward. It was also a great example of the GameCube's unheralded horsepower, which could deliver smoother and crisper graphics than the PlayStation 2. Skies of Arcadia Legends.
Don't remember that.
Me either. It's a port of a classic Dreamcast title, but I'm giving it a shout out because it's still one of the best RPGs I've ever played. Never played it, I wouldn't know. And perhaps reminiscing about it will finally spur on a digital re release. The GameCube port fixes some of the frame rate and stability issues from the Dreamcast. Well, the Dreamcast was a horrible system. Was it the CD or the Dreamcast? Or both? The Sega CD I think was the bad one actually. I can't remember. I'm old. Set in a world of floating continents, Skies of Arcadia Legends focuses on the sky pirates who embark on a world-saving journey. Sky Pirates. And we end on Sky Pirates. Nice. So, speaking of Nintendo games,
What is that?
a new Metroid Dread trailer came out. That's Samus's face,
It's a creepy face. I don't like it.
right? This one showed a lot of gameplay. Uh, you guys should take a look at the trailer if you get the chance. Um, it was showing the creepy. It was showing the creepy enemies and stuff. There's like enemies that like you have to stay stealthy from, or else instantly die. Um, looks like a bunch of action, a couple new abilities as well as some old abilities. Uh, it I don't know. It looks really cool. Hold on. I don't know if you guys will be able to hear. I don't. Ooh.
Yep, we can get that.
Exploration and dread.
I mean, it looks really cool.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, it looks super cool.
In on Samus. Metroid.
Oh, not Mew.
The most powerful.
But yeah, so I mean, it looks really cool. Obviously, and it does show gameplay. There was a lot of it. There we go. But
the inner belly of a beastly planet.
It's just I want to play it so bad.
This mission
My
will take Samus
my little
to
boo
the
thing
as yet
pre-ordered it,
unexplored planet ZDR, which holds
Nice.
secrets. Beneath the
and I
planet's
might as well.
surface lies a massive labyrinth of distinct areas, from
Do it.
caves to magma chambers,
I know, right?
ancient
I
forests,
just finished
and
playing Shadow
underwater
Complex the other
depths.
day, and it made me want to play this even
At
more.
Samus's disposal
This
is
is
a
cooler.
powerful arm cannon, missiles, her jumping prowess, a new slide, and a brutal melee counter, which deflects enemy attacks.
Like, I can't wait. So I mean, we're not gonna watch the whole like 5-minute trailer or whatever, but it, you
Mhm.
know, the point is it looks really cool,
Mhm.
and I can't wait for it to come out. It comes out next month, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, next month. So it's getting closer, guys. That's about it. So Razer made finger condoms.
What?
Look. Look at it. Um,
What
what
the
makes a gamer? I'll tell
is-
you. It's having the right attitude, the skills to dominate, and of course, the right tech. Razer produces monitors, headsets, mice, and keyboards and shit. Now they have finger thimbles that cost $9.99. Oh, $9.99. With 2 included with each purchase. They're called gaming finger sleeves. And Razer says they're made of smooth, high sensitivity fabric. Keep in mind that people may see you using these bad boys if you're in public. um,
Oh,
But why though?
but why though? Exactly. As you might have hoped, they're made to be lightweight and breathable. It's a gamer's nightmare to get those hot fingers during intense gameplay. It's so good that Razer thought of that.
I mean, do you really want to know my thoughts on that? Because I mean, I'll tell
um,
you my
I
thoughts.
have a
And they're
guess on
washable.
where they're going. Okay.
So your like fingers don't get like sweaty or something, I guess. Or like sweaty and make you, I don't know. I don't know. I just think
This
it's kind of
is
stupid.
yeah, like it's so gimmicky. Like you,
Yeah.
what? But watch, this is I say that now, and it's gonna
It's gonna blow up,
break out
right?
on the scene. It's gonna be like, yes. These things are the best ever.
Yeah, so that was
Like,
amusing.
if that's a thing, just get like the covers for your controller.
Right,
Or don't use a controller. Use a keyboard and mouse.
right. I
This is
just
this
I
is ridiculous.
that doesn't make sense to me, pretty much. But I thought it was
Yeah,
funny that they
I
made finger condoms.
it is. It's hilarious. And the fact that they're $10 and they come with two.
Sounds like Derek's.
So I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty stretching here because I don't do too much on the PS5 when I do my news because I mean I'll do stuff for Sony, but not. You know what I mean.
Hmm.
I don't usually care about PS5 stuff, but they have an upgrade, and it's going to be M.2 SSD supported.
That's interesting. If that's actually a solid state drive, that should help with a lot.
Yeah. Sony's first PS5 beta included access to the long-awaited M.2 SSD slot, and now the company is ready to release the update to everyone. If you don't have a PlayStation 5 yet, then you should know that the PS4 is in line for an update, which will allow party owners to disband without kicking players out individually, and view trophies from PS5 games, whether it's on your profile or somebody else's. Okay. When the second major system update for the PlayStation 5 is released on Wednesday, everyone who has managed to acquire the system will also experience 3D audio via their TV's built-in stereo speakers, similar to how it works in compatible headsets. Sadly, there's no word to support for Dolby Atmos audio beyond Blu-ray disc playback or new 3D audio settings for home theater systems. So, that's kind of cool. There's an accompanying update for the PS5's DualSense controller that lets players use the built in microphone to help calibrate the audio settings to work for their TV and the room they're in. If you own Sony's Pulse 3D headset, it's a good option for the PS5. Among others, we can suggest there will be a new equalizer settings panel in the sound controls menu so that you can tweak the audio to your liking.
That's nice.
Yeah, so PS5 update for you guys. Still not getting it yet.
Right.
Alright, after you, Matt.
All
Well, not after
right.
you. You know what I
No,
mean.
I know what you mean. So, a lot of these articles this week are themed in the past, and I'm just going to actually make a sort of relevant connection between the podcast and this completely ass random article that I found. Um, about the world's oldest known forest. It's actually not as well known as people thought. So, they found the fossilized web of a 385 million year old root network in upstate New York under an old highway department quarry. They've reconstructed the remains of a mature old growth forest that housed at least three of the world's earliest tree-like plants. Some of them would have looked like giant celery, about 32 feet high celery, which is horrifying.
Okay.
Uh, some of them would have been pine trees, but with ferns. And the third one would have been kind of like a palm tree. Um, so apparently, scientists are thinking that they were not super densely packed, but they were more spread out because, big ass trees need room to grow. And also, it was in a floodplain, so being really close together probably would not have worked out very well.
Right.
Let's see. Oh, that's interesting. A lot of the big plants would have had shallow roots that don't really spread out a whole lot,
Huh.
which would have made them not deal well with floodplains because I guess they get water only sporadically, which understandably is a little weird to be like in constant need of water in a place where there is not a constant supply of water.
Huh.
So I guess they'd in some ways evolved or just adjusted to the kind of shitty water supply.
Right. Huh.
Is it bad that I never really thought about trees evolving?
Um, no, I just kind of pulled that out of my ass. So I'm right there with you.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know. Not gonna lie. I saw the tagline, was like, oh, that sounds interesting, and then
Right,
just
but
kind of threw it in the chat.
hey, it's all good.
And then the last article, I'm really not gonna lie. I was hoping it would get some kind of like summary title of being well hung, but that did not
Oh
happen, and I'm a
no!
little
I
disappointed.
didn't see it until I just got back here,
No, it's
like
okay.
from the podcast.
I
Right.
only found this one earlier today, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
all good. Um, so scientists hung rhinos upside down from helicopters for science. So this entire article is just so many things I did not know anything about. So apparently there is I'm assuming it's Ig Nobel Prize for weird and apparently pointless scientific experiments uh, that honors projects that first make people laugh and then make them think.
Hmm.
So there's a study going on, I'm assuming over the last couple of years, that suspended rhinos upside down by their ankles
But why though?
Right.
as a way to try to help them deal with being close to extinction.
What?
So it's not some kind of like weird aerial yoga bullshit. Um, it's so it's as a way to move the rhinos away from their normal uh ecosystems or habitats to, I guess, confuse
Preserve them?
poachers with flying rhinos. Yeah. So conservationists have tried dehorning, uh, translocating, and even resurrecting rhinos. The only kind of issue with the translocation is um, if you kind of just keep shuffling them around and keep them together, they don't have a chance to. I mean, the big one is they can't interbreed like they're supposed to. So the gene pool gets kind of shallow.
That's the nice way of putting it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, poor rhinos.
Oh, fun. Yeah, I didn't read past like the first bit, so I'm learning this as we go as well.
Sweet.
Um, so not super surprisingly, the whole capture and moving process can result in psychological and physiological stress. If you give them too much tranquilizer or leave them in the wrong position under tranquilizer, they will die.
Huh.
Uh, so for a number of years, African rhinos had been moved by hanging them upside down from a helicopter, blindfolded and drugged. So, okay, now that makes
Blindfolded,
sense.
drugged.
It's a faster transport time as the Rhino flies than by a car. So I can see where there'd be an argument for that. Like
Right.
if they're doing roughly the same thing to the Rhino to move it quicker, then as long as you can do it safely, you may as well.
Right.
Yeah, and like putting the animal like under less stress because the reason why they blindfold them is it helps calm them down.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'd kind of freak out if I was hanging upside down by my ankles being transported by a helicopter to somewhere I didn't know. to
Right.
see everything.
Okay, interesting. So there is actually some solid science behind this. Um, 12 black rhinos were hung upside down for 10 minutes for science, for research, um, comparing hung by their ankles versus on their sides. And if there is a difference between the two, at least for breathing and respiratory issues, not issues, functionality, if there's a difference, upside down is actually slightly better than on their side. I don't know why. I have,
I can theorize that because if you think about it, their blood is going to their lungs and they're going to be breathing better, circulation wise, rather than to their limbs, if you think about it.
okay.
Right.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah. Oh, and then I guess there's a caveat a little farther down in the article. Don't for long distance, don't use a helicopter. For
Right.
short distance, it's fine.
Right.
But anything else, just drive.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
It makes sense though.
yeah, I mean, I don't, like I said, I was just like, oh, that's an interesting headline.
Right.
And yeah, as even though I'm doing a stereotypically shitty job of describing the article, it is actually weirdly interesting.
It is.
Is it super relevant? Maybe not, but
But
it's a thing.
animal conservation.
We're not here to be relevant though. Are we?
I
Are
was
we?
going to say speak for yourself, but I realize I can't. So
Right.
don't have much to say there.
Right. All right. Well, upside down rhinos. What a way to what a way to bring the news to a close.
What? What the?
I hate to just leave any of our viewers slash listeners hanging, but
We
I don't know
understand,
if
Matt.
we.
Feel better.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even mean me leaving. I was
Oh, I
just
thought
making
you
it.
were.
I mean, I am gonna leave,
Right, I
but
figured you were going to because of your head.
I
But
was.
hanging. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, there we go. I was just making a pun. It's like, hey, we don't really have a transition between this and a potential game, so
Right.
I want to just being left hanging.
Being left hanging.
I mean, I guess it's
Great.
better than being left on red.
Right.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Right.
Good. I enjoy being not wrong. It happens sometimes.
Only sometimes.
Only sometimes.
Yeah,
Never all the time. 60% of the time, every time.
right. Just like 87% of all statistics are made up on the spot.
Exactly.
Things I didn't know.
I mean, I've heard the number change from time to time, but I'm pretty sure it's 87%.
I'm pretty sure too.
I didn't know that at all.
Well,
So statistically, that ends this podcast here.
okay, right. Statistically, right. Matt has a headache, and I need to eat some food. So,
And I also need to eat.
so
I
I think we're
I'm
gonna
skipping
call it
dinner
early tonight.
because fuck that.
But we will be back next week, and it'll be great. And
Hopefully,
Mike will be back.
hopefully I will be here. I
Right.
don't know if I'll be here. I think so.
Well, just let us know.
I will.
All right. Well, everybody, have a great night. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Adios.
Bye.